Hi everyone, Craig from the Edge Property Buyers here again. We're out on the road. Just today's video, I just thought I'd cover inspections of properties. There's been a few articles recently where it's mentioned that people are spending an incredibly short amount of time actually having a look at these properties before they buy it. And it's such a big investment. They probably spend more time, by the sound of it, when they take a car for a test drive. So today we're just going to run through some tips. When you go and see properties, I would always go and see a property at least a couple of times. Go and see it at different times of the day, and if there's different weather conditions as well, that's going to be a bonus as well. You might see some leaks and moisture if it is raining, but definitely different times of day, because you might notice noise, etc., traffic at different times of day. And just general neighbourhood noise. So that's a good point. Always get a building and pest inspection. I know a lot of the time these days you can now buy one that's been organised by the owners. I would also lean towards getting your own individual report because that building inspector is actually working for you, so rather than actually for the vendor. So I think you're going to get more value out of that. It's such a big investment, whether it's investment property or buying a property for yourself. I think spending a few $100s to get your own independent inspection when you've narrowed down the property and you feel like it's a good property that you're going to buy, then definitely worthwhile doing that. So we'll run through around the house and have a look at some of the things that we look out for. Just the basics, remembering you're also already going to get a building and pest inspection, but these are just things, to test out that can potentially save you a lot of money in the long run. Okay guys, so here we are. Obviously you'll see this house is NBN ready by the simple fact that it's got an NBN box on the outside, usually near the fuse box. We always check the fuse box for a couple of reasons. One is to make sure it's got the latest breakers and safety switches, especially if it's an old property. This is obviously a newer property, so it's got all the latest breakers as standard, but with 40, 50-year-old properties, they might have the old ceramic fuses and they need to be replaced, and it's quite affordable, but it definitely needs to be done. Also really important is in the fuse box you will see the pest treatment, if there has been one done, and a termite barrier. They usually put in the dates of when the last treatment was done, etc. So again, that's a really important thing to keep an eye out for. So we'll move on. Obviously all breakers here, there's solar panels, etc. in this house, but there's different breakers and fuse boxes, etc. Don't forget to have a look around any of the brick walls, where there's vents here. Make sure that there's no turf or dirt piled right up to little bricks over the top of these vents, because obviously they're letting air into underneath the house, which can cause moisture damage as well. And just have a brief look, where there's a lot of wood around here. Anytime you see any bubbling or anything like that, potentially give it a tap, see if it's been bogged up. Sometimes people do some quick repair jobs before they're selling, so it's always worthwhile to have a real good look at some of these things, because at first glance you might just go straight past it, but come down the track you might find that it's just rotten to the core. And there was a couple of houses we saw on the weekend that had that, where they were just patched up. You could just tell. Don't forget to check around the other side of the house. Generally these days you'll see the rainwater tanks, obviously what type of hot water system you've got there, and obviously this house doesn't have natural gas connected, so you've got to take into account that you're going to be having gas tanks refilled. So nothing out of the ordinary, but just something to be aware of. When inspecting a property, and obviously see if the agent minds you doing it, but test everything out. Turn on the oven, turn on the air conditioner, open the automatic garage door. Make sure it works, You want to make sure that you're not paying for something that's broken that's going to cost you thousands of dollars to get it repaired. So, don't feel awkward about it. It's just the nature of the beast. and it'll save you money in the long run if you find something out, and you can potentially negotiate on this as part of the purchase price. And of course, you can't always get underneath every house, especially if it's a slab. But I think it's really important if the house is on piers, or you can at least get some sort of vision underneath, and you'll get an idea of the condition. You can sometimes pick up some dodgy renovations as well. And also, you know, other building pest inspections will go further than this, but you can see all the piers there are fine. But in some older houses, you can find them, they've moved, they're sloping, or they're falling apart. It just gives you a good indication if you're going to need to do some repairs or some major work. Again, you're not an expert at this, but if you can see something really obvious, it might save you some money in the long run. Don't be afraid to turn on the taps. Check if the hot water service is working. Simple things like this can save you money in the long run. Once again, simple things like testing the oven, testing the cooktop, just make sure all the elements work. Once again, can be used as negotiating power or saving you money. So there you have it, guys, just some basic tips. Get out to the property a couple of times, make sure you do it at different times of the day and potentially different weather conditions. Make sure you get an independent building and pest report. I can't stress that enough. You're spending a fortune on whether it's investment property or property that you're going to live in. So, like I said, for $300 to $500, it's peace of mind, and they're working for you and they're working in your best interests. So if you have any questions, please comment below. Don't forget to like and share, and don't forget, if you'd like to book a free strategy session, we'll spend half an hour looking at where you are in your investment cycle, where you want to be and how we can help you get there. So thanks guys, enjoy your day.